Hi guys, I'm Dr. Tanner Christensen here with Christensen Chiropractic. Today we're going to show you some low back exercises to help out with low back pain and some low back mobility to help out loosen up that low back there. So the first exercise we like to show is a foam roller for the low back. So I'm going to show you a few different ways to use a foam roller on the low back. So first we can just start kind of in the low back area. You're just gonna lean back easy and just kind of roll back and forth, nice and slow in that low back area there. If you're having some pain down into the hips or going down the legs, some sciatica, what you can do is you kind of put one leg across in a figure four and then kind of get into that more of that glute area and then the buttocks there. Just kind of nice and easy, and you can control how much pressure you put on there. Just kind of roll back and forth. You find a little spot that's tender, you can spend a little bit more time there or focus more on that area, but you can kind of roll back and forth there on each side in that buttocks area. Also, a lot of times low back pain, we get tight hamstrings or tight quads. So same thing, you can kind of work on the hamstrings there, both sides with that foam roller. And two, I'm controlling my pressure that's being put on the foam roller. I'm not just allowing all my body weight and smashing into it. You'll know what feels comfortable. Same thing, we can roll over to the front and we can get more into that quad area there and just kind of roll back and forth there, nice and easy, and I can control the pressure there. So that's a good exercise to use with the foam roller to kind of loosen up all those areas, the quads, the hamstrings, the low back, into the glutes there. The next thing we like to use is our little handy lacrosse ball here. Same thing, I always like to do that figure four one and kind of get into the glutes there. This is really good for sciatica, piriformis syndrome, even into the hip there. You can get inside of the hip there if you have some hip pain or hip bursitis. It's a really good tool to use there to help relieve some of those areas there. The next stretch / exercise, a lot of times with low back pain, we get really tight in our hip flexors there. They attach at the front of the hip and then they go really deep into the low back there. So here's a hip flexor stretch you can do. We kind of call it the marry me stretch. So you're just gonna go kind of in a lunge position there. And what you're gonna do is you can put your hands above your head and then you're just gonna push your hips forward there. And so you should feel it here, all into here in the front of the quad there when you push forward. And then you can also hit different areas of your hip flexor. So if you take this leg and move it more in, you'll feel that hit a different spot. Or if you take this leg and move it out, you'll feel it hit a different spot of the hip flexor there. So this way it's hit more out, in, it's hit more on the inside of the hip flexor there. Last exercise, obviously we get really tight hamstrings usually, and that can pull into our low back, and so we like to do a hamstring stretch. And so what I use is a little band here. You also can use like a really long towel, but we have these here, or you can pretty much buy these on Amazon. Just a nice stretchy band. And we just go on our back, hook one end to your foot there, okay? And then you're just gonna pull tight and go straight there as far as you can where you're feeling a nice stretch. And you're just gonna hold that for a while there, about 30 seconds, until you feel like you got a good stretch. And then you can obviously switch there. We always wanna do both sides. Make sure both sides are stretched out. And just kind of hold that stretch there. The band just helps you kind of bring it farther and hold your leg up there. that's a good tool to use to help kind of stretch out those areas. So those are our low back exercises and stretches to help out with low back pain and mobility. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Do more.